to ask Mr. Adam Zabriskie to please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance this morning.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Adam. I want to remind all members that this meeting and all future meetings are held in person, and it is important for all members to be here in order for us to have a quorum. Members of the public are still able to participate virtually, and we encourage them to do so. I'd also ask members to please be sure to activate your microphone before speaking and deactivate it after your remarks. This will help ensure that everyone is able to be heard by those in the room and online. I'll ask Ms. Whittington to take us through our agenda review and share any announcements. Ms. Whittington.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, members, for being here this morning and for all who are joining us online. Just a couple of announcements. First, just a reminder that the Tadens in front of you, the equipment is not working today. We had some adjustments made to the boardroom that kind of kicked us off, but they'll hopefully be back before your next meeting. The speakers are working, so feel free to activate your mic and deactivate whenever you're speaking. The Access Links is still undergoing a search to replace Mr. Hickling. That has not happened as of yet. I understand the interviews are underway. And for your presentations on today under item 8, we will hear from Ms. Salita Stubbs and Lindy Castillo. They will do the CTC update, and I will present some research that I have gathered on the eligibility and the difference between ADA and TD. I'll do the best I can, and if I get into really deep hot water, they're going to bail me out. They promised that they were going to do that. So we will divide up those presentations that way. And there aren't any other changes to the agenda. We are prepared to move forward as printed.
Thank you. Baldwin? Thank you. Thank you. Berry?
Present.
Campbell? Delano?
Present.
Giltz?
Present.
Olson? Zubritsky?
Present.
We do have a quorum. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, we'll move to the public comments on action items. We don't have any action items for us today, so we'll recognize anyone wishing to make public comments later on the agenda where general comments are made. Let's move on to presentations and status reports. First is the CTC update by Ms. Salita Stubbs. And Lindy Garcia. Castillo, whatever.
Good team.
Ms. Baldwin, thank you for that. I have an envelope for you later on. No, sorry, mistake. I thought it was a different meeting, but
We had a big talk before we got.
I know. I get carried away, but I want to say good morning and thank you. I have Salita Stubbs here next to me to keep me in order. My name is Lindy Castillo. I'm part of the Links team. I manage the customer relations team, and I'm glad to be here today. So what I would like to do is I'm hoping you have the presentation there and you can see on the board, and I'm going to go each slide and discuss it a little bit. And again, we're both here for you. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate. Okay. So the first slide is just a quick couple bullets. We're going to go over the overview, the Access Links trip demand, Access Links performance, trip duration, customer service activity, the service costs and funding, opportunities, summary, and then questions for the team here. And then we'll close it out, okay? It may not be surprising, but if you look at the first bullet, access links increasing trip demand, we've had a 7% increase year to date. So 2025 year to date versus last year, we've had a whopping 7% increase over June of 2024. So it's pretty, folks are riding the system. Folks are taking our access link service. So that's pretty good news. Along with that, our on-time performance, our OTP is improving, maintaining good performance and the goal. So we'll be presenting slides with regard to on-time performance, but again, this is a quick overview. We're going to also address the call center, average speed of answer. As you may or may not know, estimated time of arrival is a big ticket for us at the call center. And what does that mean, estimated time of arrival? Folks are calling to say, hey, where's my ride? Is it here? My window's between this time and this time. Is the vehicle on their way? So that's a big bulk of our calls, estimated time of arrival calls. And then we'll have another slide that discusses the cost of service challenges. And then finally, we've got some good news. We've replaced and brought in some new vehicles for the service for our customers. And we're about 63 new vehicles in the fleet, and we're waiting for some more deliveries. So that's excellent news for our riding public. Now, this slide here kind of gives you an overview of what's happening in the world of access links and our customers. The column to your left is talking about 2024. But if you look at the current year, 2025, you'll see an increase January, February, March, April, May, and June. And we're talking, several additional thousands of trips every month. And if you subtract and then divide, it averages about a 7% increase month over month. That's pretty impressive. The group here in this area and the group at our call center and our drivers, our contractor Transdev, we understand that, and we're prepared and we're calibrating and we're making some different moves so that we could adhere to on-time performance and serve the public. So looking at those numbers, it looks like if I would forecast, it's probably going to follow the same trend for the next, throughout the year. We'll see that increase. So we need to be prepared. We are prepared. And that's a good thing. Any questions so far on that slide?
They're taking notes, so we'll get to the
Okay.
end.
Virginia, don't take any notes. The next slide, it's just a quick graph. This talks about performed trips, similar to the slide before. What I like to report, our average on-time performance is about 91%. So that's pretty good. So kudos to the Transdev team and us working together, making sure that every day is a different day and we're prepared to meet those demands. The other piece I like to show is the trip by purpose. If you look at the bottom chart, employment is a big part of the transportation mode, along with the dialysis centers, and then followed by recreational, educational, medical, and then some shopping and nutritional type of trips. But it runs the gamut, A through Z. Customers are out there, they're using our service. And that's great news for Orange, Osceola, and Seminole County. The next slide is performed trips. Now, this is an interesting chart because it kind of lets you know what kind of mileage, because folks always say, hey, Lendy, hey, Links, how far do our customers travel? And they could travel anywhere from 1 to 5 miles, 5 to 9 miles, 9 to 13, or 32 plus miles. And the next column tells you, hey, if you're traveling 32 miles, how long would it take? If you follow the fixed route, that's a 2-hour and 45-minute ride. If you would use the fixed route system for mileage that high. Then the next column gives you the average distance, and you can see 37 miles is a long way. The good piece is that our contractor, along with us, even though that trip may take 2 hours and 45 minutes, we're averaging about 1 hour and 30 minutes to and from that destination. And as you could see, the last chart, if you do 1 to 5 miles, that's about 1 hour trip using fixed route. we're averaging about 24 minutes. So this is a nice way to view how it's going out there in the street. As you all know, there's always traffic, constructions, accidents. We run a busy corridor in the 3 counties. So this is a nice chart just to show how are we performing, how long is it taking. Now, granted, I'm sure you've heard some complaints, hey, Lendy and Lynx, our rides are a little excessive, but we all know those things may happen. But overall, these are pretty good numbers. And knowing what's out there in the street, it's pretty good. Okay. The next slide kind of tells us about the call center. And, that's been part of the audits and the surveys. I'm happy to report for the month of June, we average about 3 minutes and 51 seconds. The month of June answering calls. Our team, our agents average about 64 calls per day. The total calls for the month of June, just look at June, 55,000 plus calls for the month of June. That's a lot of folks calling. And again, that's a combination of booking, reservations, ETAs, and that sort.
Fixed route.
Go ahead, Selena, I'm
And
sorry.
fixed route.
And fixed
It's a
route.
Combination of all calls coming in for.
All calls, fixed routes,
Okay.
complaints, accommodation, enabling calls, access links calls, or someone just asking, hey, where are you located? What's your address? Where's your corporate headquarters? Or I lost an item on the bus, or I lost an item on an access links vehicle. How do I retrieve it? So you run the gamut, or like, for example, Paul Pass. That increased our calls because people were trying to understand how to use the new Popeyes application. So anytime there's a new program or there's construction or some events here in Orlando, folks are going to call, hey, can I get to this event today? How do I get to the Kia Center? What time is the Kia Center event? Is the Sunrail running? We even get those type of calls. So it runs A through Z. And I'm happy to say that the group has really performed well. We've made some calibration with Salita's help in the team. We've implemented the callback system. I think last time we were here, we were getting good positive feedback about the callback system, where our system says, hey, you won't lose your place online. Would you like us to call you back? And we've gotten some good positive feedback, even from the TD, a writer saying, hey, thank you for doing that. That allows me to go to the kitchen or do other things. So that's really good. We've looked at scheduling. Where are the agents placed at? We look at it methodically by hour. Our team is really focused on making sure that we're available when needed. Again, I don't want to paint a rosy, everything's 100%. We've heard the surveys. So, we want to make sure that we're there.
Because he is the customer service manager, of course, he's gonna ring the bells in that fashion. I also want to give kudos to TransDev because the ETA calls have went down. So that means we're showing up more on time, we are managing the trips a lot better. So again, thank you to TransDev for working with us so that we can make these rides a lot more efficient for the people.
That's a good point. And it's teamwork, just like here, this board. You guys share your thoughts and rationale of what's going on, and we listen and we try to calibrate. And every day is a different day. So we thank you also for being part of this team and giving us some insight of what's happening. This slide really is it's an eye opener too. It just compares the cost of transportation, and it compares the actual cost versus the paid invoices. And you could see, they run into the hundreds of thousands. And then you compare that to, the red line where TD is in June, average about 15,800 trips. That's a lot of trips for 1 month. And again, you looked at the chart about employment, dialysis, shopping, medical, that all takes into account. And we understand that folks have different needs, but we're there for them and we understand their needs. And like Salita said, our partner TransDev is there and they truly understand the needs of the customers. And we're trying our best every day. We're 7 days, 365, so we never stop.
On the chart, could you go back a minute?
Sure.
For full transparency, as you're aware, the green is what is reimbursed to us from the Commission for Transportation Disadvantage. However, The mauve color is what is covered by the funding partners. This year, starting July 1, it went down another $20,000 from the commission. That will have to be picked up by the funding partners. We are now receiving $240,000 reimbursement each month, starting July 1. So just for transparency purposes, I wanted to share that.
Thank you, Selena. In summary, it looks like demand for trips is robust. I mean, you saw the numbers. We're nearing 57,000 trips performed each month, 57,000. On-time performance has been holding steady. We're maximizing fleet, drivers, call center representatives, everyone's on board, making sure that things are running smooth. For fiscal year 25, we've already received 63 out of the 85 vehicles delivered. We're still getting consistent deliveries. And as soon as we get that vehicle, we're going to put it out on the street so that we have newer and mechanically sound vehicles. Maintaining the existing fleet is a challenge.
Yeah.
Because, as you know, things break down. And with this scorching heat, ACs are the biggest ticket right now. So Transdev they have their mechanics working around the clock, making sure the fleet is ready for transportation. We're also at the call center targeting that 3-minute average speed of answer. Despite the increase in ridership, despite the increase in calls, the group itself, they're really making it work. So I would like to thank you. Do we have any questions? Yes, Ms. Bold.
Comprehensive report. Good job.
Thank you.
The last 2 or 3 times that I've ridden, I'm noticing that particularly when we're on the east-west, you can kind of feel every hump and bump and when you're in one of our Access Links vehicles. Is that probably because we're using an older vehicle, or is that the driver needs to slow down a little bit? Can you give me an answer, please?
Well, okay. You want to try?
We could not really answer that because we're not riding in that vehicle.
Right.
But I think that's something that would probably need to be considered by the Transdev team with their drivers to understand that they're doing the speed limit. Is the road in bad shape, which we don't have control of? Are they riding on different parts of the east-west? Because one side could be smooth, the side they chose to ride on could be bumpy, which we have no control over. But it could be some of the old vehicles that are doing, a shake, which we are beginning to get those out of the system. But that's a real hard one to answer if we don't know which trip it is and the driver, so that we can look at the video and see what's really happening.
It's kind of a follow-up to the question that Mrs. Campbell brought up last time we met, that sometimes you feel unsteady and you want something to hold on to. And I particularly notice it when we're on the expressway. And I think it could be that the drivers need to remember that the passengers in the back are going to feel, go a little slower, in other words.
No, Ms. Bolden, that's a good point. Same thing with our fixed route and our neighboring vehicles. We get those inquiries and say, hey, this was a rough ride. But just coming down here today, our good friend, Mr. Muhammad, took a different route. And I was sitting in the backseat and you could feel it's the streets too. You could feel those bumps. And I'm sure all of us have experienced those rough rides sometimes on the roads that we usually take. And so it's a combination of what Salita said and you're mentioning. But the drivers are aware, they're trained to make sure that they're following the speed limit and they're adhering to any of the street detours and what's going on the road. But we will, and I'm glad our team is here.
To our attention, the days that it is happening, we can always take a look at it, because our GM has been very cooperative in looking into these incidents that we bring to them and they respond right away. So we can, if you give us dates and times that just this happened, we can target in on the drivers.
Yes.
Further to Marilyn's comment, I have had many riders complain about the fact that they do not feel safe in the buses because there's nothing, as she rightly said, nothing to hold on to when we go through these areas or the bumpy rides. You know, you're strapped in, yes, but some of the older ladies who are small, they don't feel that they're being protected, you know, or going around a corner. Yeah, you have the strap on, but they want to be able to hold something to feel secure, to feel that they are not going to be pitched off. And that is something that I feel Lynx should really look into, having like a belt or something like in the buses, or, you know, that you can hold on to keep you upright and feel safe. And that's one point. I have another comment to make, in that a rider was picked up. It was a usurp, but they were asked, she asked the, you know, when the transportation came to pick her up, she said, who have you come to pick up? And the driver said, we have been instructed that we are not supposed to divulge that to you. We've been told by management that we are not to say who we've come to pick up. And she said, well, I'm not getting into this car until I know that because I am blind. You know, I don't know who it could be anybody stopping and saying, I've come to pick you up. Is there something in management or some rule that the drivers are not supposed to tell the person that they're collecting their name?
No, ma'am, that concern was sent to us and we did address it with our,
Or you
yes, we addressed it with Transdev, who has addressed it with the user
okay,
contract. So yes,
okay.
ma'am.
Because it has happened with me too, where they've come for me and I say, who have you come to pick up?
See, it is a toss up when you're using usurp, because although I come to pick up Miss Campbell, if I come up and I say, Miss Campbell, she could say yes. And then I'm transporting the incorrect person. So it's a toss up, but we want to say, we're going to trust that the customer is the customer, but we've had that happen quite a few times where they've transported the customer that don't even have access links.
So that's being addressed.
Yes.
Yes.
Good, thank you.
Any other questions?
Think about something that we can do, particularly if you're going to pick up someone and they're in a facility where there are a lot of other people. How can they be identified? That might be something to think about down the road. Is there a badge that would say access links and maybe have your first name on it, or would there be a code word, but something?
We are on that path. We've been having discussions about that. It's just how would we put that out and accomplish everyone getting a badge. We don't want to have everybody coming downtown to take their picture.
Right.
We would have to do some type of mobile transitions to go around. So we're just trying to do the logistics of how that could happen.
Excellent.
We bought the big monster printer. We have all the badge material. It's just how do we get it out so that everybody is
I would like to comment, a badge is it's a good idea, but it's kind of small for a driver to see. I was thinking in terms
no, ma'am.
of, or something like that, but I was thinking in terms of something that's more visible, like a little flag that a person can hold up and see, I'm the one that you're coming.
We prefer to have the picture ID.
Mhm.
We prefer a picture ID
Picture
because then
IDs.
it guarantees the driver that Mr. Olson is who he say he is.
I see. Mhm. Yeah, that's very important because sometimes we are in a public place or at a supermarket and the driver comes and doesn't know who Mr. Smith is, or, and they looking and looking,
Mhm.
there maybe a 15 people in front, whereas if there was some identifying mark that the person it could show and the driver could say, oh yeah, well, that's the person I'm coming to see. It's like, because I'm collected every Saturday at my church,
Mhm.
and they don't know who I am. Normally, I'm a person that wears a hat, so, I will tell them that it's a lady with a hat, because there are not very many people who wear hats. But, if they don't know who I am and they're coming to pick up somebody at the church, they really do not know who they're picking up. Whereas if there was something more identifiable, it would be easier for them. It's just a comment.
Yes, ma'am. And just to share with you, we've had a couple of cases on the TD side where a family member or a friend was utilizing this service on behalf of someone else's eligibility. Okay, so we are catching those type of incidents as well. So again, a badge, photo ID would be, I think, the way to solve that.
I agree.
And have some more questions.
Thank you all for your presentation. It was very informative.
I have some questions, so just bear with me, but I think you'll be fine. They're easy to answer. So, if we can go back to the trip demand slide, the first one that compares the years. Here. So we're up 7% from last year, but I see a decrease, little over 5,000 from last month. Am I reading that correctly?
You are.
Okay.
School is out.
Okay, so that makes a difference with
Yes.
school. That was gonna be my question. Okay, so we anticipate probably in August, it'll go up,
Yes,
but
ma'am.
not in July, we're looking at about the same.
Schools go back August 11th, and we are preparing.
Okay, all right, perfect for that. And then the next slide, is that the on-time performance?
Yes.
Okay. The average is 91%. Is that, am I reading it I'm on the right side, from 91.1 to 90.3? So it decreased from May to June. Am I reading that correctly?
Correct.
A slight
Yes.
decrease. It wasn't significant.
Right.
So do you know what may have happened?
Could be vehicles. We still
Okay.
have a lot of old vehicles in the fleet that
Mhm.
breaks down. The heat has caused air conditionings to go out. Some of them have finally blew engines that we are not repairing because we're getting new ones in.
Mhm.
Yes, because of the age. So some of that is contributing to that.
Okay.
Some of them is you're dealing with human capital. You have to have your drivers. So if they, for whatever reason, is out for whether it's sickness, we had a couple of accidents that took some out for a few days, or they're going on vacation. You have to honor those vacations. People need breaks. They call mental health days, if anything. So I take some myself. But you're dealing with human capital, so sometimes we are running under the 90% and closer to 88, 89. But we tighten up on them and we go back and kind of let them know we're dependent on you to come to work.
Okay. What's the vacancy rate for the drivers? Do we know? We probably don't know that. I was curious.
Yes.
We cap out the number of people that we allow on buses.
I can't hear.
And attendance hard. You want me to come talk to them?
No, but that wasn't the question. The vacancy rate.
We're not.
We don't
We don't.
have a real shortage of drivers.
Okay, so that's
I
not,
believe we are maxed. Okay.
okay, so that's a good thing. All right, I saw that and especially if it's the number of trips went down and then the on-time performance decreased as well, that would be something that would be a concern. So maybe y'all are looking into it.
Mhm.
Okay, you will?
Joey, know I'm on it. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the next one, perform trips. I may have asked this question before. It's the next slide. What's the formula? What formula is being used for this one? Not, yeah, this. What's the formula?
It's
To calculate,
it's a percentage-based formula being used to determine how many trips are falling in a certain time frame, well, the mileage frame. So we have an established metrics chart of how long a trip should be
Mhm.
with the granted loading time, wheelchair time, strap
Distance.
downs, how far the trip is going.
Mhm.
Our system goes by crow fly miles, which does not equate to the Google miles.
Mhm.
So if we're driving and we come into a pond, the trapeze system says we should cross the pond through the water. Not realistic. So we have to go around, which adds maybe another, couple of minutes to the trip. So we are based on a 1 to 5 mile trip should take no more than an hour.
Mhm.
Okay, so now we look at it to see how many trips are going a 5 mile distance and how many of them, how long did it take us on an average to complete that trip? Now, granted, you might have a trip or someone might contact you and say, I was on the vehicle for an hour and a half. Okay, let's talk about, was there an accident that detoured us? Did we have to go another route? Anything could have happened, but we hoping those are far and few between. And I believe we're getting better at that.
Most of your trips are which, how many miles?
A lot of our trips are 32 to 40.
Okay. Would you say that's the highest number?
About a 40 mile trip, yes,
Mhm, okay.
40 mile trip.
Okay, next slide. Thank you for that.
On a 2 or 50.
Okay, but that's not normal for
No, ma'am.
50. Okay. Now here, so I was looking at your the number, and 3 minutes and 51 seconds is great from the 5 minutes and 8 seconds. I do see though that the comparison would probably be it's more comparable between June and April. Because it was 57,000 calls in May. So and it's a great decrease because April it was 55,952, June 55,097, and then but the minutes is almost 3 minutes different. So that's great. And it's up 86% of them being answered. So what changed? Do you think it's the callback service? I'm just interested that because it's good.
It's a combination of things. You've got to remember with the call center,
Mhm.
calls are coming in
Mhm.
no matter what, and they're coming in fast and furious. So what we have done is, besides the callback feature, which has been a big plus, and you could see it, we've also calibrated staffing, changing their breaks, lunches,
Okay.
schedules, and that's pretty much a daily routine. We look at the volume that's coming in, we look at historical data, and we start forecasting, okay, a Monday, let's look at every Monday. How did the trend happen? Granted, there's events happening throughout Orange, Osceola, and
Mhm.
Seminole County. Will folks be traveling? School's out. So it's seasonal weather. Everyone wants to be out. So we're constantly calibrating the staff, whether it's breaks, their lunches, how many folks do we have? Monday and Wednesday seems to be the biggest hit. So we ramp up to make sure that, we have the proper folks at the proper time. Keep in mind, we're on a 24-hour clock, so we've got to spread that group. And between 8 and 5 is when the gauntlet is.
Okay.
After 6 o'clock at night, things start slowing down, ETA calls and all that, but we're always adjusting and calibrating to make sure, and the callback feature helps. Customers and RTD customers too, they understand that, and they call, we're pushing everyone to call, between 10 and 2 o'clock throughout the day. If you start calling at 4:45 or 4:30 when the window closes, it becomes a little bit lengthier. But we've done a better job in calibrating. And again, training too. You know, that takes training. Our folks got to be trained on what's going on, what's happening. How do you answer a call differently? Is there a way that we could not shorten it, but make it more efficient to get that information out?
The training has been over a period of time. You didn't do that just in that. those
Yeah,
months.
and think about the
Okay.
on-time performance. As on-time performance gets better, less calls on ETA.
And we've also started, doing more on-hand coaching,
Okay.
listening. You might call me and I know you because I'm always making your reservations. So by that time, how was your weekend? You know, oh yeah, what did you, oh, you cooked that for dinner? No,
Mhm.
we need to short those.
Okay,
Okay, cordial, but at the same time, we need to stick to what we need, the job is.
right.
Let's get the reservation made so because the next person is holding on the line as well.
So that's good. Anything, isn't there an app? Is there an app?
Customer could book online as well.
So
Yes,
has that
web
increased?
access.
I was wondering if
Yes.
that, do you think that?
They have started using
Okay.
it more. I don't have the percentage of numbers with us,
Okay.
but the next time we will report. But
Okay,
what we're doing in our correspondence letters for approval is directing them to the web access.
okay,
Okay, so you know, you can make your reservation
Mhm.
online, so as many people as we can funnel over to that.
Even
It's
during the
being-
eligibility process, when
Yeah.
we're signing up a new customers,
That-
we're promoting that.
well,
So that the
good.
customers are aware, you have different options. And that's the key to everyone's, is having customers having different options to do their business.
Well,
That's key.
It's working, so it's good. I mean, even though I looked at April and June the most, if you look at April to May and the number of calls that came in,
Mhm.
and you still decrease your average speed of answer, I mean, that says a lot. So good job with that.
Well, thank you for
Exactly.
recognizing. I think we
Mhm.
really put the hard steps in towards the middle of May.
Okay, so good.
So-
We see it.
We're starting to see it.
Yes, well, good. And then my last one, it really is on the, I think it's the next slide with the cost and funding, because it's disappointing to hear that it's another decrease of $20,000. So what is it that we can do to assist with that?
It's basically lobbying the
Okay.
Florida Commission. It's a formula, you know, it's a formula base that they give to the counties and it's, but it's their budget. It's out of our hands.
Okay. Well, thank you all. Good job, though. I mean, I appreciate the information. And I know it's challenging, because you're down in the one key role, so thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you for the excellent report, Mr. Castillas and Ms. Stubbs. Next, we'll have the Mobility Matters, Understanding ADA and Transportation Disadvantage Eligibility.
Yes, they did such a
By
good job.
Virginia
They need to
with the-
stay close. Good morning, Mr. Chair, again, and members. I'm gonna try to use the presentation. Did we not load that one up?
Which one? This one that came in.
Yeah, the one that came in
It's
last
not, it's
night.
a handout.
Okay, we have this one as a handout, so I'm going to, we'll sit right there. We'll go to that slide. So what you have in front of you is a copy of a presentation that was sent over yesterday from Links, and this is in response to the question that you all asked, the TDLCB asked about the difference between ADA and the TD program. And so I just wanted to try to respond to your question. And again, if I get out into deep water, the ones who really know the answers are going to come back up and bail me out. Under Title 49 of the Code of Federal Regulation, the ADA Transit Focus outlines the purpose of the ADA program, and that is to ensure equal access to public transportation for people with disabilities. And that is the primary and main purpose of the ADA focused. And the key requirements are that public transportation must be accessible on the fixed route service. Paratransit service must be provided, although it is an unfunded mandate. It does not come with the funding to meet those needs. And that the eligibility is also outlined, and those eligibilities include, it could be conditional a permanent disability. It could be transitional, or it could be an unconditional eligibility. And those are defined as if someone has a conditional eligibility, that is an individual who they can use the fixed route under certain conditions, but maybe not always because of their disability or their that related barrier. If they have a permanent eligibility, it is the individual's disability is not expected to improve. You've heard Ms. Baldwin speak on this point or to this point a number of times over the course of our work here. Oh, thank you. Boy, awesome. And then with regard, and that is their eligibility does not require reevaluation over time, and the amount of time that they are eligible may be also extended. Transitional eligibility is an individual that may be it may be a temporary eligibility. It's typically granted for limited time due to a short-term health need or issues during a recovery period. And then the unconditional eligibility is individuals who cannot use the fixed route transit under any circumstance due to their disability. The fares are outlined $4 or $7 one way per passenger trip. They are allowed to have a personal care attendant with them. And those ADA users who are visitors to our community can request transportation for up to 21 days during any 1 year period. And I'm getting the behind me. So yes, I got the amens behind me back here. So with regard to the TD program, the Florida Transportation Disadvantage Program. Now, this is a state-funded program that is governed by Chapter 427 of the Florida statute and consistent with Rule 41-2 of the Florida Administrative Code. The main purpose for this program is to provide coordinated transportation for individuals who are unable to obtain their own transportation due to age, income, disability, or for other reasons. And so this definition is much broader than the federal definition or the federal requirement. Some of the key features is that the eligibility for these clients, they are low income, typically consistent with what has been designated as below the federal poverty level. They have to have a disability. There could be age requirements or age eligibility. They're seniors. And that they have no other access to transportation or vehicles in their household. Again, the definition is broader than the ADA. The types of service are typically those that you saw in the last presentation. Their medical, their employment, could be some shopping and recreational trips as well. The funding is primarily from state funds, although it's much less than what is required. It is state funds coordinated with some federal funds as well, but primarily due to the generosity of our local funding partners who meet that delta, the difference between that 244,000 and the 860,000 that it actually cost to provide the service. The service is coordinated through the cooperation of the Community Transportation Coordinator, who is Links. They have their trips done with a vendor who is Transdev and a local coordinating boards, which you all oversee the service and the delivery. The service also include, well, they don't like to say trip prioritization, but of course, those critical trips, those life-sustaining trips, they are definitely going to provide, and we have not had to do any trip denials. That has not happened. You have seen that in your evaluations year over year. And so it's great that we're still able to provide those services. So the eligibility process in either case, ADA or TD, requires that the client complete an application. They can go online to access Link's website. They would download the application, complete it. That client or the person who is filling out that application would select which ADA or TD, which program best meets their need. They complete that application and mail it in. A medical professional verification is required, particularly for the TD trips or the TD clients. And there is a functional assessment that is required, particularly with the TD. But, okay, I'm hearing the both. Both are required. They would send in either mail or fax their applications in, and then the determination could take up to 21 days for them to receive their notice or notification of eligibility. This just shows you the concurrent processes, whether it's ADA or TD, the process from receipt of application to notification of the outcome. And then they're pretty similar. They're pretty similar. I'm liking this, having this support behind me. And then applications that are involving those temporary recovery, those that are life-sustaining at times may be expedited if there is some requirement. And I think, Ms. Betsy, you may have some experience in that department, serving as a social worker and being able to make sure that those customers are taken care of and their eligibility is determined if needed. Did you want to say something there?
I wasn't aware that there's a functional assessment involved in the TD program. None of our dialysis patients, unless they're applying for ADA, I've never known one of them to get a functional assessment.
Come on up, Miss Salida.
When you refer to the dialysis patients, those are life-sustaining trips for us.
Yes,
They do not go through a full eligibility process.
unless it's
They-
ADA.
They just, the dialysis would be classified under TD as TDD, transportation disadvantage dialysis only.
Okay,
So those persons do not go through a full eligibility process.
okay, but if they are
If they
requiring,
choose to get into one of the two programs that we do offer
Mhm.
as a regular transportation rider, they would have to go through a majority of them would go through a functional assessment. And that would be based on the criteria that are being met, 2 of the 3 criteria.
Okay.
Depending on what they are applying under, it would possibly be required to do a functional assessment.
Okay, because I had a patient recently that wanted to apply under the ADA program. She is a dialysis patient, and she did go through the functional assessment, and they gave her a conditional eligibility, and I just wondered why.
There's different like criteria to be met if you're going for a full-fledged ADA eligibility. There are
Even though
the
you have
functional assessment.
dialysis too. it
Because
doesn't
remember,
matter.
a disability does not automatically make you eligible.
Okay,
That does not prevent you from riding the fixed route system.
Okay.
Because all our buses are ADA accessible. So again, it's whether or not you can utilize the fixed route effectively, not because you have a disability.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you. So just in summary, just to give you the differences in the two. ADA is a federal program where TD is a Florida, state of Florida program is governed by state laws. The purpose for ADA is equal access to public transportation, whereas the TD program is coordinated transportation and it's broader. The eligibility under the ADA program could be disability only. And again, the other is broader. It could be a senior, it could be income. Those are criteria that could potentially allow a person to be eligible. The trip purposes under ADA, there is no restriction under the trip purposes for that. And then on the TD program, again, there are those employment, medical, those different, the different trip categories there. Funding sources, again, with ADA, federal, transit minimal. And then for the TD, Transportation Trust Fund, TD Transportation Trust Fund, and someone asked, what can we do to help? You can lobby your state legislators, and you can pay that $1 when you go to renew your tag. There is a $1 donation that you can make to the Transportation Disadvantaged Trust Fund. A lot of people don't know about that, so when you're talking to your family, your friends, say yes on that $1 when there is the opportunity to do so. And then with the eligibility application, we just went through those processes, and they are similar, can take up to 21 days. But the good news is that in Central Florida, Orange, Seminole, Osceola counties, we do our best to make transportation and mobility available to our communities and those who are in need, those most vulnerable. So that is all we have, unless you all have something to correct me on. I think we have done it, the three of us, right? Mr. Chair, if there's any questions, I'll try to answer. Marilyn, I know you are an expert in this area as well, so please feel free to help us out.
Well, this would be a good thing to put in the packet for new board members. Now, my memory doesn't always serve me well, but under the TD program, don't we also have income financial eligibility, or no?
Yes, it is determined by the poverty level.
Right.
Yes,
Right. But very good, very thorough.
thank you.
A+.
Thank you. Uh-oh, no, just kidding.
Because I'm about to renew my tags, what, for all my cars. So I just want to know, what am I asking for? Because I want.
You can make a voluntary donation to the Transportation Disadvantaged Trust Fund.
Transportation Disadvantage Trust Fund.
Yes,
It actually asks you that on your renewal.
yes,
Okay.
it does ask you that on your renewal.
I don't
Every
even
dollar.
remember.
I'm going today.
Raised in your county stays
In your county.
for
Mhm.
use.
So good. I'm gonna encourage that.
So yes,
Yes.
I think Commissioner Uribe, I think last year about this time, she raised that issue and asked, what can we do? Is this something that we can promote? Can we put it out there that this is an option when you're renewing your tags? And
Perfect.
yes, yes it is.
I'm gonna do this. I would
And you
put
don't have
yes
to
anyway.
pay that dollar.
Yeah.
No, I think it's good. Yes, I believe I do,
$20,
but yeah.
$50.
There you go. Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you. Okay, and the next item, if you're ready to move forward, Mr. Chair.
Yes, please.
You all wanted to take a look at your evaluation instrument that you use each year to evaluate the community transportation coordinator, and particularly those evaluation categories and whether it is satisfactory, very satisfactory. You wanted to take a look at those. Now, the intention is not to take the time today to go through each one of those unless there are some specific ones that you want to discuss here. It may be beneficial for you and your time and the best use of time. If you want to take this with you, take a look at each one of those and send back your recommendations that we would be able to present to you again at your next meeting. And then at the November meeting, we would be able to present it to the full TDLCB. And just taking that time to go through it, because we won't use this again until February. So you do have time to be able to look at this. But what I did in the meantime was I called or had Rachel to do some research. She reached out to Broward County, Duval County, and Hillsborough County. So our counterparts in other parts of the state to see how they get feedback from their LCB. It varies. No one does it the same. And so I'm going to bring this up again when we have our TD planners session at the conference next month. But no one does it the same. Some of them don't even get the feedback that you all provide. Their LCBs don't do this at all. It's handled strictly by the planners, and the planners present it, or they have a consultant that does everything and they come back and present the results, and the LCB will either approve or ask questions or whatever. So it's done differently. I'll take your recommendations. I think it's more meaningful when you all participate in the process, especially since you hear people, you hear from people, you hear from your clients. We don't hear directly from everyone. And so you all have a very different perspective when it comes to these. And so with that, I will stop talking and hear from you, whether or not you want to just provide this back to me within the next month or so with your recommendations. Mr. Chair?
Okay. You're asking me if we want to do it that way.
I'm asking the
Yeah.
group if that would work
Is
for
everyone
you
okay with that?
to take this, unless there's something in particular that you all raised this question when we gave the results of the last CTC evaluation, because you didn't feel that some of the criteria were broad enough. And so we bring it to you as the QATF to look at this instrument and see if there's any revisions that you would recommend making.
Yeah, I think that's good.
I think we're fine with that. Yes, we'll
I
review it offsite.
wanted to go over them all today.
Okay.
Go.
I'm just kidding.
Oh,
I wanted to send Ben. No, I think we should accept that recommendation.
But we'll accept that recommendation.
and Salita, you wanted to?
We didn't share it yet. We went through our 3-year CTC assurance, quality assurance review, just recently. We are proud to say that we have no findings. The 3 years prior, we also had no findings, so we are managing the program as well as they are expecting us to do. Just
Good.
wanted to share that while y'all are thinking about the evaluation.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you so much. I will send another email to you all just to remind you and possibly give you a return by date so that this doesn't get out of sight, out of mind. Okay. All right. Thanks.
Thank you, Virginia. Under general information, upcoming meetings, we have the TDLCB board meeting, August 14th, 10 a.m. Metro Plan Orlando board meeting, September 10th, 9 a.m. And the 2050 Metropolitan Transportation Plan public meeting, September 29th from 5 to 7 p.m. Orange County Multicultural Center, 7149 West Colonial Drive, Orlando. Is that going to be mandatory for us as board members to be at?
No, that is not mandatory. This is our public presentation of the 2050 plan that's going to be going before the Metro Plan Orlando Board for adoption. This is the future of transportation in Central Florida. Some of you have participated in the different workshops along the way. This culminates that process. So we're asking that you all, if you're able to come, we would love to have you there. But more important, please share this with your networks so that they are able to come out. And also you're gonna hear an update at your TDLCB meeting on the 14th.
Okay, thank you.
We have a flyer for that.
Do you have a flyer for that?
We don't just yet, but
Okay.
we will have one.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we're now at the members' comments. Are there any committee members who have any final comments?
Mr. Chairman, we
Yes, ma'am.
just celebrated on Saturday, the 30th 35th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act. And on Friday, Mrs. Carolyn Campbell and I attended the Center for Independent Living celebration of the Americans with Disabilities Act. And I'm pleased to say that our Norm Hinkling, former paratransit manager at Lynx, received the Beverly Chapman Award for his service to the disability community.
Thank you. That's great news.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
She's wondering if he has to come back now.
So that
He
we
would say, no.
Yeah.
so that we can congratulate.
And we also hosted here in Orlando, the Family Cafe Conference in June.
Yep.
And that's a wonderful opportunities for families and members of the disability community to come together for a weekend. And there's just so much information
Absolutely.
available to the families.
Right, thank you for those announcements. We're now at an opportunity for public comments. Comments heard at this point in the meeting are more general in nature and similar to the first. Comments may be made in person or online. Members of the public joining us virtually who wish to speak will use the raise hand feature on the Zoom screen. If attending by phone, you can hit *9 to raise your hand and request to be recognized. When you're called, staff will unmute your microphone and will ask you to state your name and contact information for the record. Is there anyone online wishing to make comment?
No hands raised online, Mr. Chairman.
Is there anyone from the public wishing to speak in person?
No comments received.
Were any written comments provided prior to the meeting?
We did not receive any written comments prior.
Okay. If there's no further business, the Transportation Disadvantaged Local Coordinating Board meeting is August 14th. I look forward to seeing you there. Thank you for joining us today. The meeting is adjourned.
Very good, Mr. Chair.